Welcome to Organizational Sherlocks, the podcast where business meets psychology and your organizational puzzles meet their match.
Join us for captivating stories and practical solutions to unravel your toughest challenges.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth Fleming.
And I'm Morgan Ashworth, your guides to a prescription for business success.
Let's dive in.
Well, we are getting close to the holidays. I know here in the States, we just celebrated Thanksgiving. And so we're really excited to talk to you guys today because trying to throw in the holiday spirit a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this conversation for many, many reasons. Should we reveal to our listeners what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about holiday parties for all of you who maybe you have them, maybe you don't at work, maybe you have them personally, but also how holiday parties fall into employee recognition and employee morale. So excited today. Elizabeth, tell me a little bit about some holiday parties you've experienced in the past.
That is a great question. Okay, so one of my favorites was like a casino night. And so we had it at the office. Everyone came, they could bring their partners or, whoever, a friend if they wanted. And it was just so cool. I don't know, like we decorated the whole office and it was, what's funny about it is like the event itself was really cool, but the prepping for the event kind of brought everyone together, if that makes sense, because everyone did something. You know what I mean?
Organizational volunteerism, like that is so important. I feel like having people want to chip in and help and like set up these types of employee activities, whether it be a holiday party or something else, it's a good morale booster and it builds a different level of collaboration, especially for those office environments because you're working in person, moving things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was that one. That one was definitely my favorite. I know before we jumped on, I was telling you that I have a thing for dip parties. Have you ever been to a dip party?
I have not been to a dip party, but I think I can assume what it might be.
You have to have one. So a dip party is where it's kind of like a potluck, right? Where everyone brings a dish to share, but it has to be a dip of some kind. So like a buffalo chicken dip, a spinach dip, a marshmallow dip, something like that. And so like the theme.
I wasn't thinking about dessert dips.
Yeah, there's some good dessert dips out there. I don't know. I make some pretty good ones.
That actually reminds me, it's not part of our Christmas party or holiday party, I guess I should say. We call it a holiday luncheon. But it is part of, our holiday festivities at the office, and we do a cookie swap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's also very, very common. It's more so, there's less pressure on the organization for like a dip party or a cookie swap where, you create that interconnection between departments, between employees, and again, you boost morale and you get to learn about other people's cookie recipes. But it doesn't cause the company to spend money either in a way. Maybe you're spending money in the sense of time to do the cookie swap, but it's a very fun, different way to get people involved and engaged.
Absolutely. I love that idea. I would imagine, okay, and so this is where like my dreamer self comes into, right? So you do a cookie swap or something like that, and then you compile all of the recipes, and then as a company, you have a recipe book, right? So like your company's recipe book.
Yeah, I did that with my family's recipes actually recently, and I didn't even think about doing that with the company. Back during 2020, obviously, you couldn't really swap food at that time. So we actually did do a cookie recipe swap instead. And so people put in their homemade recipes into a Google Drive and we shared all of that. But I really like that idea. And it kind of just, especially if there's like cultural cookies in a sense. I know for us, we create these Italian cookies. My family's not Italian, but this is our family recipe, is these Italian anise cookies, and they're so good, and that's what we always bring to the cookie swap.
Absolutely. We actually did that. It's a little bit not on the holiday party front, but just I have to say, because I think it's really cool. So when I was working with Megan Foch, who was a previous guest from Concurrency, shout out to Megan, we compiled, so as part of our DE&I employee resource group, we compiled a bunch of different like family recipes from people across the company that, came from all different backgrounds and had a lot of different cooking styles and all of that. And I even still use that book today. We actually pulled it all together, had some printed, that kind of stuff. And it was pretty cool. And And part of it was we had people write like a little paragraph about why it's their favorite recipe. So then we also got to know about our employees too. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, one thing I like to do is sometimes, if it's a handwritten card, instead of typing it all out and making it all look the same, kind of taking that card and making like the recipe book have like pictures in it of these cards, and so you see that handwriting. And to me, while we're talking about kind of the surface level and it's fun and it's engaging, it really shows that a company is more than just the company. It's the people inside the company, and shows that you're not a number. You're part of a team. You're part of a larger group, larger initiative. It shows that you do in fact matter, and in that turn, yes, I feel it's going to affect morale or satisfaction if you're to test it down the road. But overall, yes, there's a strategic side behind these engagement activities, but at the same time, if you're authentically doing these and it's just part of your culture, you have a good culture.
Yeah.
There
When
doesn't
you're
have to be
building,
a reason behind it necessarily.
yeah, I mean, you're building relationships. I know we're talking, holiday parties potentially kind of because of the season that we're in, but I mean, that doesn't mean that these kinds of things can't happen year round. I mean, you could have theoretically a cookie swap in the middle of the summer. Like, why not? People like cookies, I think.
Maybe a popsicle recipe swap.
Yeah, exactly. So,
no, I do know we are purposely trying to make sure we're having holiday parties or engagement activities or, morale boosting time periods where our team can connect with each other. And we purposely say, like, we want to do one at least once a quarter. But it kind of just developed out of, goodwill, good heart. But we've noticed that, there's this gap in time where we don't have one. And so we should purposely put one in that spot, which is the beginning of the year. It's like the first quarter. We don't have anything. So after you leave holiday season, it's like, oh, it's the new year, just got to work. But no, it's the new year. Let's be excited. And so we're actually going to be doing a new party this coming year in probably March because of our travel season. January, February is super busy. We are probably going to do some sort of activity, whether that be bowling or just going out away from the office space and people that are remote traveling in if they can. And we are going to do company awards for the previous year. So you have to wait a few months for those company awards too, which is kind of cool. So it goes back in time, really connects everything. I know I talk about alignment a lot. You do too. It really aligns year to year, makes people remember why they had so much fun during the holiday season, say 3 months into the new year.
Sure. No, I think that's a really great idea. And, one of the things that I think can be really cool too, because, like as a business owner myself, it's tempting to say, well, I'll just plan something, and while I can, and while business owners and executives can do that, sometimes I think it's fun too, to just kind of throw it out there and say, hey, we want to have a party. Who wants to be on a committee? Like, who wants to join this and be a part of it? So that, again, those connections are being built even outside of the event itself, if that makes sense. And so I think that can be pretty fun too.
Yeah, not to get off topic, but you talk about committees, and we have our safety commission, and I've been talking about doing the innovation committee and then doing the sustainability crew as a part of them at our organization. And I never thought about maybe an engagement committee as well. Our business operations team is very much involved in the engagement activities. Like I have 2 individuals on my team currently working on a food donation bin, and then I have 2 other individuals working on we do the quote adopt 2 kids for Christmas. Organizing that right now, but it could be more people in the organization. And I think that would also bring more people to want to participate. Like, unfortunately, our food drive didn't do too well. Because of that, I will say I actually put our quote budget for snacks and food, not coffee. They get their coffee still, to putting more food into the donation bins because they were really lackadaisy, I would say.
It's funny because I think about, so you said like food donations, right? And again, maybe I'm taking this a little off topic, but kind of related. Like, I think there's a lot we can learn from, even like elementary schools and stuff like that. And I think about my son, right? And my daughter, actually, both of them, their school is doing a food drive right now. And it's almost like kind of friendly competition, right? It's for every classroom that brings in 100, like items, right, for the local food shelf here, they get to have a kickball game with the principal, against the principal. So it's a bunch of kids who are playing against the principal, right? And it's just kind of friendly competition and fun, and then they have a couple of kids from each classroom kind of stacking them up and making them look like a holiday tree and that kind of stuff. And it's pretty cool. So I think we can maybe even learn from that a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's the idea of gamification. I know we've kind of talked to it before. It's the idea of gamification where you make a competition, a healthy competition out of it. Right. And so I know also, like, there's like high school programs that, a lot of the teams have to do volunteer work, and so they have competitions. And if this team raises the most, they get to pie the coach in the face, things like that. And it is so easy to apply that. You get to pie the president in the face. Unfortunately, I throw Dan, our president at Ashworth Awards, under the bus a lot, make him do a lot of reels, things along those lines, where he's like, oh, I have to do all this stuff. And I'm like, it's funny though. I'm like, I know it takes you away from your work, but it's something that creates that personal connection between you and the company too.
Absolutely. Get this. So again, going back to Megan, and at Concurrency, we had a holiday party in the summer, one time. Well, they do it every year, but, and we had the president, CEO, in a dunk tank. And so people got to throw a ball and have him dunked into a bunch of water. Let me tell you, it was hilarious.
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to have holiday parties, employee engagement, and even to recognize employees. Like, we have a costume competition for Halloween, and 3 people get awards: funniest, scariest, and best overall costume. You're recognizing your employees for participating. You might be recognizing your employee for having the best aim in a dunk tank,
right?
But you might be recognizing something different than a KPI, but you're still recognizing your employees. And that is so important. Maybe you don't have KPIs for certain departments. So how can you build on this recognition, but through employee engagement activities that might not be work related necessarily?
Yeah, well, and I think too that it shows that you value people as people. And I think kind of, this whole conversation is just, it's making me think, I know this is a very light episode, right? Like, light in the sense that it's kind of fun and happy and joyful and all those things, which is our intention, but it really brings it down to the fact that, like, it is our responsibility as leaders, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, whatever it may be, to value the people that help us succeed. I mean, realistically, right? And so I think it also proves that it's okay to have some fun. It doesn't have to be, employee recognition doesn't always have to be, who had the most sales, we're giving you an award, or, the like employee of the year, right? It doesn't have to be that formalized. It can be, you had the funniest Halloween costume. Like, that shows that we value you as an employee, but also just as a human.
I do think it takes some pressure off of managers as well for valuing their employees in a certain way. Like, if an employee is not feeling valued, then this takes some of the pressure off, because it makes it a little bit easier to do than, say, if you had to have that hard KPI conversation. That's not to say this is going to overshadow that hard KPI conversation, that hard skill, action, productivity conversation. KPI, key performance indicators, for those of you who don't know the acronym. It's not going to overshadow it, but it just makes it a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
It makes the workplace more fun, more holistic, more part of someone's lifestyle and because we spend so much time at work, so it just makes it more meaningful to their life, rather than, I go in, I punch a clock, and then I do my work, and then I punch out and I leave, and that's it. No, it creates a greater level of connection, even if it's just interdepartmentally and not organization wide for those larger companies. It is important to do. One facet, though, one that certain times leaders feel, is that they're doing all this effort and maybe they don't get buy-in I do know that is something that we've experienced as well. I've just said it, the food donation bin, not a lot of people participating. Yes, we didn't necessarily apply gamification through that because we have other things that we've had gamification with recently. So sometimes you need to take a break from it. But you can, in fact, do some sort of negative punishment, quote unquote, as they say. It's when you take something away that they would want. And so in this scenario, we took snacks away. We're like, why? If you don't want to donate food, why are we going to give food to you? It kind of creates this level of, we're trying to give to the less fortunate. And so we're going to put this money that was supposed to be for you guys to the less fortunate because you guys didn't want to give to the less fortunate. Sometimes you have to have those harder conversations. Yes, we want to keep it light as much as possible. And the sun is shining in, so I probably look odd in my screen right now. Yes, you want to have those conversations and make them light and make these engagement activities light. But sometimes you need to go do a new approach. And it doesn't always have to be the lightest approach, the happiest approach. Still, though, we put it in a light way. We're donating the monthly snack budget to the less fortunate.
Well, and I think, kind of from the approach standpoint, I think a big question that we can ask is why, what, like, when you think about, next year or the next thing that you're going to do, if you didn't have a lot of engagement or interest, ask yourself why, and maybe get some feedback from people around and say, hey, what's, there wasn't a lot of engagement. What do you think that was about? And just try to understand it, because maybe that's not the thing that they want to do. Maybe they want to go and pack food kits or something like that, and they want
to take an hour and actually go volunteer at the place. That is
just gives you that information for the next time. What can we try the next time? But I will say, and kind of a couple of notes when we think about kind of tips and tricks sort of for these events or for different things that you're doing. I think everyone has a different tolerance for how much, let's say, engagement that they would like to do, think introversion, extroversion, all that good stuff. Right. And so I think that, it's important that people are not forced to do anything, to join a party if they're not wanting to, or that they're not comfortable with that. I think that it has to be kind of an opt-in situation. And I also think too that, and maybe this is just because of my own stuff, but, having options, like if you're going to bring food in, for instance, having options that meet the needs of the majority is also really important. Whether that's having, no peanuts in the thing, because there might be peanut allergies or gluten allergies or whatever.
Label it. Just label if you have peanuts, label if you have nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think just being mindful of that is really important. Just because, again, it shows that you value the people around you. And the people that work for you. So, I mean, I'm excited. I have a holiday party coming up that I have to go to. They do plan it in the new year just because everything, gets really
busy,
chaotic and busy. Yeah. And so we have that coming up, and it's pretty cool. I think it's fun, and I'm excited to go and hang out with people I don't get to see every day,
Yeah. I think that's going to be fun for you. I know we have a couple as well coming up. Again, I look odd because of the light coming in my window right now. It's morning time here. But, not every engagement activity is going to be successful. Not every holiday party is going to be successful. That's why we do ours during work time instead of doing those like dinner work parties. We do luncheons. But that's okay. Just keep changing it year after year. And you don't have to do punishments. You don't have to do, rewards either. It's more so just, how do we engage? How do we create recognition through these engagements? And how can we get it on the floor? Meaning, how can we get our employees to want to participate in even planning them? And that's organizational volunteerism. So if you have any holiday parties you want to tell us about, please feel free to reach out. We would love to chat with you. If you have questions on how to develop it, again, reach out. Let's talk. Recognition programs, holiday programs, engagement programs, those are so important. So let's dig down into that and be curious about it.
Absolutely. Well, I hope to hear from some of our listeners, but we will stop for today because this concludes another intriguing episode of Organizational Sherlocks. I'm Elizabeth Fleming.
And I'm Morgan Ashworth, reminding you that the journey to success is an ongoing investigation.
Stay curious, stay strategic, and keep utilizing insights to decode your business mysteries.
Join us every Tuesday for your next Whodunit. This is Organizational Sherlocks closing today's case. And right before we log off, I just want to say one last thing. Happy holidays to our individuals out there. And know that a lot of the engagement programs that come about in companies actually come from the employees, not the organization. So it's usually a bottom-up approach. So a little tidbit of information as we log off today.
Absolutely. I was going to say the exact same thing. So happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe, have fun, and remember to stay curious. See you all next time.